We need freedom of speech. And freedom of speech is only relevant if people are allowed, if people you don't like are allowed to say things you don't like. That is the only time freedom of speech is relevant. It can't be that the government is deciding what is or is not misinformation or disinformation, because then you get politics applied to those labels, and in fact, you simply get the suppression of freedom of speech. I think wokeism is evil because it is racist, sexist, and anti-free speech.
This bumbling buffoon will have you believe that he legitimately cares about protecting free speech rights in America. Meanwhile,
instead of just taking him at his word, you have to look at what Elon actually did once he bought the site. And the truth is, once he owned the platform, he cracked down on free speech. He suspended reporters who reported on him, and accounts he disagreed with politically, and he even banned the word cis because it made him feel icky. At one point, after realizing Joe Biden's posts were getting more hits than his were, Elon even forced his engineers to change the algorithm so that his personal tweets would get special priority.
Comedian, podcaster, writer, and labor activist Adam Conover throws cold water on Elon and the right wing's victimhood complex and phony concerns for upholding legitimate free speech rights.
So Elon's definition of free speech is when everyone else is forced to listen to his speech.
That's what it's always been about to the right wing, posturing as free speech warriors when all they actually want is the permission to say whatever unhinged nonsense comes to their minds with zero consequences. But when you give them a taste of their own medicine, especially a thin-skinned, fragile dude like Elon, this is what you get.
And Tesla customers are being intimidated all over the country and all over Europe. Mm-hmm. Does that help Tesla? I mean, you had Tim Waltz, who's a huge jerk, running around on stage with the Tesla stock price where the stock price had gone in half, and he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do! What a creep! What a jerk! Like who derives joy from that? And it was pointed out to him that actually, Minnesota State Pension Fund is a major investor in Tesla. But he didn't care. He was so overjoyed by Tesla stock going in half. Does that sound like a good person to you? I don't think so.
While Tim Walz would walk back his comments after news broke about the state pension fund's Tesla investment, the central point remains valid. You can't proclaim yourself to be an unequivocal free speech warrior and then go on a propaganda outlet like Fox looking like you're about to cry and pandering for sympathy over consumers exercising their free speech rights to criticize, protest, and boycott one of your businesses, let alone strong-arming the administration you're working for into classifying anyone who vandalizes a Tesla or other Tesla property as domestic terrorists. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
For a while there, it seemed like Elon was on top of the world. I mean, he's basically the president. He's firing scientists who are way smarter than he is, and he's deciding whether people live or die, since hundreds of thousands of people are literally going to be killed by Elon's cuts to disease prevention programs. But hey, Elon don't care. He's way too busy playing with his favorite chainsaw. Dude has been living the dream. But all of a sudden, Tesla stock started dropping. Now, I'm not gonna lie, all of this has been pretty satisfying to watch, but it's more than just schadenfreude. The turn against Tesla in American society is proof that Elon is not invincible, but that in fact he and Trump are extremely vulnerable to public pressure. And it provides a roadmap for how average people can push back against what is happening in this country.
Conover's spot on yet again. The Tesla protests are striking this much of a nerve with Elon because he's taking hits not only to his finances, but also his incredibly fragile ego. And when our lives are being controlled by the most insecure, wealthy psychopaths in the world, the best way to fight back is using what little power we have to organize and coordinate protests that directly affect their bottom lines. That's just one reason why it's so disturbing to see the broader crackdown on free speech and protest rights that we've been seeing since Trump took office again.
On Friday at a town hall, Victoria Spartz said, one of the most alarming things that I think I have ever heard an elected official ever say.
You violated the law. You are not entitled to due process.
That's right. She just said if you violate the law, you're not entitled to due process.
They are not trying to hide it anymore. To MAGA stooges like Representative Victoria Spartz, all that matters is power and control. And if you think they'll stop at just throwing out due process protections for undocumented immigrants, visa holders, and other non-citizens, especially those who speak out against the Trump admin and or the actions of the Israeli government, you need to take a hard look in the mirror.
For the people that entitled to due process will have, but for the criminals and come here breaking the law, we have to put stop to that. And we need to deter. We need to deter. We need to deter illegal activities because we have to obey the law. I don't think anyone listened to me, but I think I stated my opinion. You might disagree with it, but we'll go to the next question.
If we had a properly functioning government and country, blatantly false comments like these should disqualify you from holding office. But we all know that isn't the case in America today.
If some innocent mistakes happen, we always have room for improvement. But I think they're entitled for more due process, not a mob rule, than illegals in our country that violated law and working with cartels and create dangers in the country. But unfortunately, the other side doesn't want to have dialogue. This is organized by Democrats. They do a lot of social media posts. A lot of them were standing in very radical groups in my district was standing all day to make sure that they can get in first, because we even expanded capacity for the first town hall. It still was, normal if we don't have so many people, because ultimately that's agenda, organized group of people. So they wanted to make sure they get in, there were professional protesters, agitators, they do it in other places, that they get in first, that they can flood the room, that a lot of legitimate constituents couldn't even come. So a lot of them probably are constituents. We have a very diverse district, but they represent extreme left, not represent really the Indiana 5th district.
Like clockwork, Spartz parroted the tired, played-out line that everyone speaking out against her during the recent town hall meetings are just paid Dem operatives meant to stir up chaos, completely delegitimizing whatever real frustrations and criticisms her constituents have for her and the Republicans. Does that sound like someone genuinely interested in having a dialogue with the people she represents? For more on the Trump administration's dystopian and fascist crackdown on free speech rights, check out our video covering the disturbing string of arrests of student activists and how said arrests put all of us in danger. It can be found at the link in the description box below. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports, and or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.